Yeah, it's kind of a mess right now. But so much to get into. Like, I don't know, it's just so sad seeing all those like projects being canceled and like series just being lost, like even like fully finished stuff just being basically thrown out. Like, I don't know, just it's just part of that like weird, like everything's digital now, like there's no, you can't really preserve certain things unless you just like steal it. But I don't know, man. Like, I want to say it'll get better, but I'm not sure right now. Like, because there's still good stuff being made. It just feels weird that like it feels like self-destructive the way they handled it. Just like getting rid of all this stuff that obviously that could have had like an audience. This stuff could make money if they would just let it. Like, they don't really. There's a lot that they just don't advertise, and a lot that they don't just uh like promote. Like, there's a show on.
Just like your thoughts about what's it like being and not just an animator on YouTube, because that's not the easiest thing to be, especially nowadays.
For
After the
sure, for sure.
algorithm change, but not just that, but a black animator, because I see very few of those, right?
Hmm.
Right now we have our big guys, our odd ones out, and I think I see Sandwich. I don't know how big he is. He's growing. He has virality sometimes, but I know like odd ones out is like the right now kind of the big dog, and in terms I feel like in public eye because of what he's doing.
Hmm.
Because he now has the Netflix show. So how many
Yeah,
YouTube
he actually
animators
got
have
picked up.
it? Right. So it's like, all right, well, someone's getting it, right? That gives us a
Yeah.
little bit of hope, right? Let's hope that you guys can be next. Yeah, but as you said in your stream, that you are hesitant to sell it to or necessarily pitch it to a network or a studio or service
Yeah.
because of ownership and meddling.
Yeah, it's not really the plan right now. Like, I mean, it would be cool to have it on something, but like, I don't know. I just don't want any hands in the pot. Like, I want to do it myself, like the way I want to do it. Like, I don't ever want there to be a time where like someone tells me I can't do something. So
Yeah.
I'd rather just keep it to myself. Like I said, like I mentioned earlier, like I think the only place I would want it this like I would definitely want to see it would be like Adult Swim, because one, they don't really meddle, and like two, I think that would just be like a dream. Like, I've always wanted a show on Adult Swim. That'd be cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, they are the ones that gave us Boondocks. So I think I can see, like, especially as a black animator, someone who loves Boondocks, right? It's like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, that's the network to go. I mean, they let Boondocks get away with a lot that no other network would get away with, right? So it's like that they will let them get away with. So you do have to appreciate the freedom they give animators on that network,
Hmm.
especially considering it is, owned by Cartoon Network, kids channel. So the fact is that they, something that we are worried, just to drop, tangent real quick, just how we, I guess you're not that into Marvel superhero stuff. As you said, you haven't really been keeping up on this lately,
I mean,
but
I'm into it, but like I just kind of got overwhelmed, so I
I, I,
haven't
I
really
get that.
been in there in a while. Like, the last thing I saw was like Multiverse of Madness, and I was just like, yeah, and I really enjoyed that. Like, I had fun with that, but I don't know. I kind of just wanted to, take a break from that stuff for a little bit. I'll probably catch up later. Like, but right now, I'm just not really, it's not really in the mood to watch it right now. I'm watching like weirder stuff now.
I mean, everyone has their different tastes, right? I
Yeah.
grew up on comics, so to me, like
Oh yeah, same.
this is like 20 years in the making, as like, and it's or maybe 15 years, because like depending on when how old, yeah, no, about 20 years when Iron Man came out, right? So it's like growing up with that, and then they're all coming out. It's like, yeah, I'm go as far as you can, give as many as you can. You know, I'm just happy as a nerd, right?
Yeah.
But as a lot of people are worried because it is owned by Disney, right? We're worried about things like Deadpool. Is it Deadpool going to be rated R? Oh, how's Blade? Oh, Punisher, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Is Daredevil still going to be as dark as it was on Netflix? right?
Right.
Because we're worried like, well, Disney doesn't seem to necessarily take the shots it goes with that Cartoon Network does, right? Where they try to stay within their family friendly realm,
Yeah, they're gonna
even
try
with
and
their other
sanitize it, maybe.
right, with their other property, even with their other like kind of satellite stuff, it's still kind of like, well, everyone should still be able to kind of consume this, as opposed to Cartoon Network's like, kids, please go away, bumpers, go get off the channel, go to
Yeah.
bed.
That
um
was always fun. And then me as a kid would just swiftly ignore them.
oh yeah, no, I'm just jamming.
Yeah.
Just flying, just listening to Flying Lotus. I'm like, what's
Yeah.
up? It's that time.
It's
Um,
like maybe kids, maybe not this kid. This kid's gonna stay.
oh yeah, yeah. He's like, look around here, Fortunately, he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
thank God for TVs in the bedroom unsupervised.
Right.
But I did want to ask you a little bit more about the process of, doing your own and self-funding and self-producing an animation, right?
Mhm.
That's not gonna lie, that's something I've always been interested in, but I can't draw. So it's not a little bit out of my realm unless I do 3D, which is a whole other beast.
Mhm.
On top of that, but I am very interested in what the process has been, and I'm sure, like, after it comes out and people are gushing over it, they're going to also be very interested in what the process was for you know a, let's just put it out there, I'm black as well, a black animator putting out his own stuff, right? When
Mhm.
we're so used to these having to look at these gatekeepers just to give us a shot. And as soon
Right.
as they close the door, we're like, well, that's enough. That's no more Boondocks. Oh,
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
So
But
just, just a
yeah.
little bit more about the process of it.
Well, I started working on this, like, actually, like, like ideas like concrete around like early June, basically. Because I just like I was just kind of started to feel like I was getting into a rut with my art and everything. So I was just like, let me like commit to like a bigger project, right? So I drew some character designs, and I was showing to my friends and talking to them about like the concept I wanted to go for, and like and we were and like we that so the idea basically just sprang forth from like a bunch of conversations, like like during the like the last few years, like the pandemic's been like a big thing. So like I've had a bit more free time to like like build an audience, basically.
Yeah. I've discovered you during the pandemic.
Yeah. So like I mean, when the pandemic started, I was like I hadn't even hit like 1,000 subscribers on like YouTube at like, and now I'm like almost at 11,000, which is pretty good. Uh, and so like, but most of that was like through like talking to like my friends like online, like like Tariq, like Offbeat Kiki, Man of 1,000 Thoughts, those people. Uh, and so and I thought it'd be cool to make a show like based on what I've experienced, like just like a bunch of like people in like their mid to like late 20s, like becoming friends through like a shared interest in like art, basically, like because like all of us are like artists and stuff, like pretty almost every friend I have does like art in some capacity, right? Like whether it be music or like animation or comics or illustration, any of that stuff, like. And I think that's a really cool thing that hasn't really been like explored in shows like that much. Like there might be a show where like a character is like a cartoonist, but that's never like the main theme, So I thought it'd be cool to like show like a more
The
relatable side.
life and
Yeah,
times of a cartoonist, right?
yeah, just like and how you like balance all those disparate different like aspects of your life and try and also keep your audience happy, and like
Yeah.
like just like the rough patches and like the small victories, stuff like that. And I thought that'd be really cool to see, especially in like the older style of adult animation that was popular in like the early 2000s, like Mission Hill, Downtown, stuff like that, because that was always my
Yeah.
favorite. That was
Yeah.
like I don't knock any like the newer stuff. Well, not well, most of it, like because I love like some newer stuff. I love Bob's Burgers, like I still watch Family
There's
Guy.
a look,
I'm comfortable with it.
there's a homogenous look about them. I feel
Yeah,
like I know what you mean. It's one of the
yeah,
reasons why like Little Devil I was like, oh, Danny DeVito, but like the art style didn't excite me enough to be like, let me put this on
yeah.
because it
And I
just
like
feels
Little
like
Devil, but I also understand that like I think it's Little Devil or Little Demon, not sure.
Little
But
Demon, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, but like it's a decent show. But I do wish they had been a bit more ambitious with the art style.
Yeah. It just if for what they have, it just like you could have done more and this really could have like hit, but
Mhm.
it's a little distracting to see the same Z of how this looked. And not just the same Z, but it's also like they didn't give you guys the biggest budget, did they?
Yeah.
Like they was like, can you give us this, but for half the cost? And I can't even think of like what else it looks like, but it's like as soon as you know, you're like, yeah, it looks like that, but also kind of cheaper.
Hmm.
So that's what I get that where it's like lately the animations, uh, they feel cheap, not so much in sort of a limitation and creative sense, but just like let's put this out as fast as we can.
Hmm.
While like I can see like where you're talking about the animation style you're going for, like the Mission Hill, like those were not only limitations, but the same way old, very, very like back retro video game designers had to get creative with memory. So
Hmm.
like the soundtracks that were banging because they had to get really creative about the amount of sounds they used on the chip.
Right.
Uh and you're like, wow, this game looks and feels beautiful. And then you really look back and you're like, oh wow, most games did not look or sound like Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, because there's so much these designers just put like magic into making sure like I have this much space, what can I do with it?
Hmm.
Um and that kind of feels like I said with Mission Hill and those old ones were like, well, we could only do so much. What is the most we can do with it? As opposed to, well, let's save as much money as possible.
Hmm. Yeah, because if you look at those shows, like they're not like like crazy animated. Like like they move well, but like it's nothing like super in your face like crazy. But like just through like the posing and like the shape language and like the colors, like all that comes together to like make a lot more than like the sum of its parts. Like
Everything was very intentional,
yeah, it's just such a
right?
good style. Like because the more mundane stuff like deserves like that kind of treatment too, I think. Like I mean like my favorite, like I usually gravitate towards more like action stuff, but like when it comes to
Same.
like stuff like that, uh those are the kind of shows that like draw me in because of just like the artistry on display.
Yeah, an interesting one, like a show that got me in. It took me forever to watch it, but when I finally did, I was like, man, I need a season two. Was Smiling Friends.
Oh yeah, I love Smiling Friends.
Right, whereas like the animation is different, like it's simple but it's very much that mundane. There's the
Hmm.
conversations, I love it. They're talking over each other, they're talking about nothing,
Yeah, it's so
right?
funny. Well,
Whoa. I feel Charlie within my bones
like,
with this, where I'm like, I'm only here because this is my job. And the fact that I have to talk about this is like, I have a ripping headache. Just I can still
just
hear
like
the noise.
you're just like, please just stop it. Just like can we all just finish the workday and go home?
Right? You know what? It feels like the evolution of us growing up on SpongeBob,
Hmm.
right? And us really like, oh man, it's what happens. Like it's all of us thinking like oh yeah, when I'm gonna grow up, I'm gonna be like SpongeBob, and then realize we're all Squidward, and
Yeah.
that's what Smiling Friends is the adult SpongeBob of us realizing, wow, we are Squidward and Pim, but we have a little Pim in our office that you're like, just stop, please, stop,
Definitely dealt with some Pims in my life.
right? So I also want to know a little bit more about the voice casting process. I know like I know you held like kind of like an open call to people on your Twitter.
Hmm.
And some of them like Tariq, he has a great voice, so it's no surprise that you picked him. And especially because his character looked like him, so I assumed I was like, that's gonna be Tariq, right? I was like, I'm assuming that's him. That's right. But yeah, to just explain like the process that you went through picking up voice actors.
Okay, it's funny that Tariq's in there. We were just talking because Tariq's also like working on something right now. I won't say much because I don't know how much he wants out there, but he's
Yeah,
posted like some stuff.
yeah, I
Working
saw
on,
I saw it. You know, I think I
yeah,
might have
working on the show called
commented or
Hey.
something.
It looks really cool, but really excited for that. But we were talking. He was just like, "What if I just voice him?" Like, he was joking, and I was just like, "That is funny. Why don't you just voice him?" Like, so basically, it's just a joke, but like his voice fit. So I was just like, "Oh, this case, so this works." So that was like the easiest cast, like because it was just like, "This is hilarious. I will let you voice him. I don't mind."
It
But
it it, it truly felt like that Samuel Jackson being Nick Fury, because
yeah,
Nick Fury is the ultimate Nick Fury is based on Samuel Jackson, and you're like, why not? It's like
yeah.
just why not do it? It just yeah, but what about the others?
uh,
Because I don't recognize the other people.
oh yeah, the other two. I had I said yeah, I put up an open casting basically. What I want to do with this show is I want to like I'm gonna focus on whoever I hire. I'm trying to hire like lesser known people, you know, because I just want to like use this as an opportunity to like build up like lesser known like artists, lesser known like voice actors, lesser known musicians, like because there's a lot of like smaller creators that like fall through the cracks, and I want to like make sure that you're seeing some of them. So I just
Yeah,
put out an open. So like I had like because I have friends in like the animation industry that I could have like asked for like more like experienced voice actors, you know. But
yeah,
I didn't really want that. So I just put out an open call, and after I went through all those people, and I picked out some finalists, and those were paid tests. I wanted to make sure everyone was getting paid for their time. So
yeah,
the final, because like if I had to read a line, I paid them for that line. Uh, and I just basically just like talked with a bunch of like friends and people whose opinions I trust. Like I was just like, okay, how about this one? Like a couple of them, and I went through them, and like I had a few people like read more lines just to test some things, and eventually I settled on two people I'm really happy with. Sam Slade, she'll be voicing Kat, and Gerald Hill will be voicing Derek.
yeah, nice. Yeah, no, it's very interesting. And like I said, I can't wait to hear more. Like when you guys finally get some more voice lines down, get a trailer out. Very
Mm-hmm.
much looking for it. But that little teaser you guys released, they sound very within the character. So it sounds like you
Oh,
made some really good choices.
well, that teaser wasn't them.
Oh, it wasn't. So we're gonna
Nah.
hear new voices.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
interesting.
teaser was just some scratch audio. That was like that well Tariq is Stan, so that was normal, but my friend Offbeat Kiki,
Okay.
they did
See,
Cat.
okay, because I didn't want to sound crazy when I said it, but when I heard the voice, it sounded like, oh, okay, I think I hear Kiki, and then someone else. I was like, all right, I don't recognize him,
Yeah.
but maybe it's just another YouTuber I just
Yeah,
don't know.
that was another friend. That was a man of a thousand thoughts doing Derek.
Was
So,
it?
yeah.
I did not. Well, okay, I have to look back because I have to listen back because I did not. I don't feel like I pegged him, so that's pretty good. If he should definitely think about getting more into it because I didn't necessarily peg him as the voice at least when I heard it that time. But I have to
Mm-hmm.
go back. But yeah, no, I just thought it was like, oh, these people, okay. And I read the names. I was like, okay, I guess it's not Kiki and whatever. All right, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I guess they sound the same. All right, that's cool. Right, but now, yeah, but you're saying that the voices, like, will they be like very much different, or do you think
Another
like you find people that
it's
kind of embody them?
it's in the same vibe basically, but a little different.
Okay. No, I
Like
mean, like I look.
I wanted like I kind of wanted like a sort of a deeper voice for Cat, so that's basically what I was looking for. And Derek, I wasn't quite sure what I was looking for, but I think Gerald had it.
Well, I look forward to hearing, like you said, whatever next you put out, and look forward to seeing and hearing the people that you chose.
Hmm.
Um, so there's something I wanted to ask. What are your thoughts right now? I mean, I'm sure we all have our thoughts, but I just want to get little free form thoughts about especially right now your state of animation and how it's going to be going for the future. As we know, HBO Max Well,
Mhm.
I don't want to blame them. Discovery, Discovery is just messing everything up, and is just kind of having, making us feel like, making it seem like there's going to be an animation apocalypse. At least if you just read the headlines. But I wanted to get the perspective of someone who not only is an animator creator, but someone who I'd imagine, like I said, that wouldn't mind, given the right contract, be willing to work with a studio on a big scale. What are your thoughts right now about what's just going on with the animation?
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of a mess right now. But so much to get into. Like, I don't know, it's just so sad seeing all those like projects being canceled and like series just being lost, like even like fully finished stuff just being basically thrown out. Like, I don't know, just it's just part of that like weird, like everything's digital now, like there's no, you can't really preserve certain things unless you just like steal it. But I don't know, man. Like, I want to say it'll get better, but I'm not sure right now. Like, because there's still good stuff being made. It just feels weird that like it feels like self-destructive the way they handled it. Just like getting rid of all this stuff that obviously that could have had like an audience. This stuff could make money if they would just let it. Like, they don't really. There's a lot that they just don't advertise, and a lot that they don't just uh like promote. Like, there's a show on Apple called Central Park. It's like same people who do Bob's Burgers, and like I had no idea
Yeah, I heard about it.
I had
I had
no
no
idea
idea it
the
was
new season
out.
was out.
Right? I
Like,
was like, I heard about it once, and that was it.
and I'm like, I'm always on the computer. Like, I should be able to hear it. Like,
Right.
send out more than just one tweet. Pay for some like YouTube ad space. Like, it's not that hard.
I would even say YouTube as it. I think what a fundamental problem is, at least I feel, is still that it is a few things. Is one, that disconnect, right? I think with that thing, like you said, like the lack of advertisement is a disconnect with Mr. Beast. Even though I don't really, watch their stuff, but he, especially this podcast, he was on the Flagrant podcast. I don't listen to them.
Hmm.
Man, bro, guy stuff, Andrew Schultz, whatever. But there was a clip of him talking about how brands still do not seem to really value creators, right?
Hmm.
Or value like the parasocial relationships that creators develop, and why and how that is so much. Like he made jokes like they will still spend like millions of dollars on like on an ad for on a football game, right? Or like
Hmm.
local football game Thursday, but it's like, how many people are watching that? How many people are paying attention to that? And you threw millions at it, and most people just picked up their phone when the commercial came on, right?
Hmm.
As opposed to taking that money and spreading it out among YouTubers. And I feel like there's still many industries that haven't embraced. I feel the uh TV hasn't necessarily embraced that, like movies have, right? And
Hmm.
how they invite creators to come, like, hey, come get a screening, come review our movies. Certain companies have, like Disney, I feel like does do like, let's get certain people like, hey, watch the MC, watch 4 episodes early, tell people that it's awesome so they'll go watch it.
Hmm.
But I still feel like, we don't get that from Adult Swim, really. We don't get, I mean, Adult Swim, I guess Adult Swim is different because they handle their own like YouTube marketing stuff, so they're different.
Hmm.
But we don't really get that feel like as much from like Nickelodeon, right? Where it's so like, or do you guys advertise with YouTubers that do kid content? Because I don't watch kid content, so I don't have a
Hmm.
child, so I wouldn't know if Nickelodeon is sponsoring kids. I know they did one. I remember one time they did a sponsorship with like a bunch of YouTubers, like Game Theory, when they were doing like an internet thing. But it's
Oh.
like, right? But it was like so long ago. It was one time. I got it anymore. Like he was supposed to do multiple episodes. I don't know, right? But it was one of those things where it's like it felt like it was at the point of time where it feels like brands were testing it, and but still was like, cold feet. Let's go back to what we're used to, right?
Hmm.
Um, because they still don't know how to, I guess, measure the metrics of like, well, if I give this YouTuber $1 million, how much back will this net me? While they have jobs and jobs and jobs of people to give them numbers on how much a $1 million ad should quote unquote net them. Because it's all predictions, right? So I think it's a new technology. Still, like, there's old fogies afraid of new technology.
Right. Yeah. It's just like it's like a certain amount of risk you have to take if you want to like grow. And
Yeah.
I don't know, people just aren't taking it like lately. They kind of just like settled into like their routines.
But I think I'll admit this is actually another part of thinking is the fact that like it's like Laszlo when he sent an Adult Swim. I'm like, thank God Laszlo's gone. Like he gave us some great stuff, but man, he cut some other shit that, like, if you read about Laszlo, it was like Mike Laszlo from like Adult Swim, you're like, he had vendettas on people, right? Like he did not like the people. He did not like like there's so many animations that were cut short and canceled, right? Because apparently he did not like he just didn't buy, like, he's like, how do you don't like the people that are working for you, right? So he'll like fuck with them and like cancel their shows or like mess with the times and stuff. So like he'll green light these really great projects, and then after a while, I think, that's what it was. It was like, I forgot what show it was. Oh, Metalocalypse. That's what I heard. It was like Metalocalypse. He had a problem with them because at first it was great, but then over time they wanted more and more money because I don't know if you ever watched the show, but it got way crazier, got bombastic. They wanted symphonies, right, and to do even crazier crazy metal death scenes. But then it started costing him. He did not like that. So apparently, like, they were supposed to be doing big stuff, and then he just like was like, bye, right, get the hell out of here, right? And it's one of those things where he and I feel like that's, same thing with this. I feel like with Discovery, like, I remember reading somewhere that the Discovery guy doesn't view animation very highly.
Yeah,
Like the head of Discovery,
Lab, whatever his name is.
yeah, but he doesn't view it very highly. So to him, he's all like, it doesn't matter if he could make money on it. He's all like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Right. Excuse my language. Right. But he's like, screw this. Right. He's like, he doesn't care about it. So it does make me wonder, like, maybe this is just like, a one-off situation where it's just like at least like yes, it's getting all the headlines, but really they're the only ones really getting these headlines, right? We're not seeing so many other studios, it seems, taking this route of like, we're just piss off everyone. The thing you liked that people are watching, buy, because we want extra money. Like, it just seems like he's doing it as a just kind of just a middle finger, right? He's like,
right.
Like, I don't like this kid stuff. Reality TV only, right? But it's one of those like, well, because one thing I wonder is like, would they sell it? Because are they doing it for the tax write off? Could you sell it to someone else? Right? Like sell them to fucking Disney, right? Sell them to Disney, sell them to Amazon, just sell them, right? Do you need to put them away in a vault just to get the tax write-off for it? That seems vindictive, right?
Right? Yeah, it's so rude. Like, why would you even do that? But could you give me 1 minute real quick?
Yeah.